Linje spurt! Bista! Tier! Best så langt klap! Go! Best for Sebe! Go! Nothing!
Okay.
Good morning, curling world. Welcome to the second iteration of the WCT ADELBODEN International 2021 edition. My name is Lorna Rettig and I will be hosting us through this weekend's games. So I'm excited to be here again. We had a great time last year here in ADELBODEN and I am looking forward to some more good curling this weekend. And our featured game today is Team Hürlimann from Switzerland against Team Nyman from Sweden. So we have quite a lot of familiar flags here, familiar countries represented, but maybe some new teams for us to watch, so that's always interesting. And once again, I feel like we're saying this a lot now, but once again, your eyes do not deceive you, and even though this is a men's WCT competition, there are two Team Hürlimanns here, and the lady you see in front of you is Corey Hürlimann, and indeed that is a ladies team rather than Dean Hürlimann, who is our other Team Hürlimann here. And the reason for this is, I'm sure you're getting all fairly familiar with it now, but the reason that we have the ladies invited here is, again, due to the ongoing COVID situation, travel restrictions and so on. And the Hürlimann team, Corey's team, kindly agreed to fill in the roster when we didn't quite have enough of the men's teams who were able to say yes and able to travel. So big thanks to Corey's team. Again, good for them putting themselves out there on that big stage against these top men's teams. And we're not sure how long this situation will go on for, so let's enjoy it while it's here, that we get to see some of the top ladies teams mixing it up with some of the top men's teams. And as I keep saying, I'm sure that Corey's team will be relishing playing these men's teams here, and I'm sure all of the men's teams will be taking Corey's team very seriously indeed. So let's say good curling to Corey's team and Nyman's team. It's like a bit of a wobbly start for everyone this morning. These teams haven't played this morning. We had a draw at 8 o'clock already. I can tell you more about the other teams that are here in just a second. We had a draw yesterday evening as well, so we'll go through how the competition stands this morning. But yeah, still smiling everyone, so not too panic stations yet. So today we have Corey's team, Team Hürlimann. They have the hammer in the last end. You can see that little hammer there on the scoreboard. They're playing red stones. Here comes a nice red stone, just punching that yellow through. And Team Nyman from Sweden, they don't have last stone in this first end, and they are playing yellow stones. All of these games 8 ends. If the scores are tied after 8 ends, then we will have an extra end. And there are 5 draws today. As I said, there was already one draw at 8 o'clock, the early start. We have a draw just now, and then 3 more rounds today. Therefore, as usual, extra ends only probably popular with the team that really needs it, and not so popular with all the other teams who are waiting to get on with the next session. And we will be having a live stream from each session. We will be always watching this sheet here. I believe this is sheet B. Let me just double check in case you want to plan ahead. But we will have at least one game every session. This is indeed sheet B, so if you want to plan ahead, you can find the draw at worldcurlingtour.org. That's the WCT website. And if you just click on second ADELBODEN International, and then if you click on scores, you can find the previous scores as well as the upcoming games. So yeah, we will be featuring sheet B every time. Occasionally I do run out of chat, so I don't commentate absolutely every single one. But yes, we're glad to be watching Corey Hürlimann playing against Team Nyman, and we'll just say hello to the full teams in a minute. This looks like a fairly bright start from the ladies. They have last shot, and looks like they're lying 2 red at the moment, so they should be happy with that.
14,5.
We've seen a little bit of Team Nyman before. I think it's hard to establish a name for yourself if you're from Swedish curling because of that pesky Adin team, who are, of course, 4-time world champions, that exact team, and Adin himself 5-time world champion with a different team. But certainly whenever I see the Swedish flag, I would always take a Swedish team pretty seriously, and yeah, there are no dummy teams at this competition. So even though we don't know Team Nyman perhaps as well as Team Adin, I will be expecting good quality from this Swedish rink. But first things first. This looks like first stone of this first end for Corey Hürlimann. I'll give you the full team lineup just at the end of this first end. Looks like she could potentially make a double take out there, but I'm not sure that's what she's doing. I think that's not, sorry, I think that's too much ice to look for the double take out. So I have an idea she's just wants to get another red in play. There we are, yeah, nice gentle weight actually. She just wants to make sure she gets another red in play. Maybe still lie 2 after this shot again. And she wants to just roll away. I think that's exactly what they were looking for, to try to drag play away from that centre. Although it maybe didn't roll in quite as much as she wanted, because if this red now goes, I think it will be yellow lying 2, but let's see. It should be a fairly straightforward shot for the Swedish team. It's always nice to just have a nice, clean, open hit to steady the nerves a bit in the first end. Make sure you're learning how the draw is going. Looks quite curly out there. You can see he's just keeping it company all the way up with the sweeping. Nice controlled weight there. My mistake, I think it's Corey Hürlimann is a skip, but I think it may be Bria Hürlimann who is throwing 4th. I will clear that up for you in just a second, so I miscounted the stones there. It looks more like this is the first of skip stones in this first end. If you see the camera just wobble slightly there, that's because someone's gone into the ice hole every time the door opens. But that little blast of air just wobbles the camera slightly. That's a really nice shot there from, I think that's Bria Hürlimann. Nice hit and roll there in behind cover. She has left a space, so Fredrik Nyman can get in behind it, but let's see. He certainly needs to play towards the middle. Not too much chitter chatter needed. And what will be the strategy here is the ladies team, Hürlimann, they have the last stone. So they would quite like to get more than 1 point, and the boys team, Fredrik Nyman, they don't have last stone, so that's exactly what they want to happen. They want the ladies team to get 1 point, and if he puts a really nice stone in here, he may force the issue a bit.
Kom med! Kom med! Kom med! Kom med! Linje! Linje! Ja! Linje! Kom igjen!
They're sweeping for line. I think it's going to need a bit of weight as well. I'm not sure that's going to get to the house.
Kom igjen!
That doesn't help him too much, really. All he's really done is give the ladies, yeah, a bit more stuff out front to guard if they now want to play that shot around on the clockwise handle. So I'll not be too pleased with that. That's a couple of stones from the Swedes that have just pulled up short this morning. So they'll need to adjust that quickly. If you joined us in Baden a couple of weeks ago, you'll have seen a lot of good quality games there. I do recommend you can go and look in the video tab here on the WCT TV YouTube channel. I do recommend to go to the video tab there, and you can look back on loads of really fun games in Baden, and we could see that it didn't take a lot, just sometimes one loose shot in one end could really turn certainly that end and sometimes even the game. So the Swedish team, they will be wanting to just tighten up their shots immediately in the second end, but it sounds like the same thing could be happening to this red stone. They're sweeping as hard as they can. It's a good sweep there. Line looks quite good to me from my angle. That's a great effort from the sweepers there. Great job. Yeah, I think we want to definitely high five for the sweepers there. That was a great sweep, ladies. Well done. And you can see the problem that's left the Swedes now, because there's no raised takeout to remove that red. And even if they just hit all they can see of that red at a slightly gentler weight, I don't think there's a double there. I think, yeah, they may just have to take their medicine here. Those couple of mistakes early on in the end, and sorry, one mistake early on in the end, and then dropping that first skip stone short. I think they may just have to take their medicine here and accept they're probably going to give up two. I think the only other thing they could think of doing would be to come all the way around on the anti-clockwise handle, but we haven't played a lot of stones up that side. That's to the right of the centre line as we're looking at it. They haven't played a lot of stones that way yet, and I'm not even sure there's a path towards the centre. I think that red corner guard on the right of our screen, I think that's probably in the way. So I think that's maybe the best idea. Let's just accept that we had a couple of loose shots in this end, and we're probably going to be giving up two. Let's make sure it's not more than that. This shot is still important. So definitely removes it there. You can see there was no angle for a double. He was never going to be able to get rid of both reds, and exactly the same shot from Hürlimann will get a big score of 2 in the first end. Let's say hi to Matilda in the chat. Matilda was with us in the virtual club room in Baden. As far as I remember, Matilda's a Swedish fan, so I'm sure she's hoping for good stuff from Team Nyman. Matilda certainly approaching VIP status here in the virtual club. If you want to say hi, if you want to let us know who you're cheering for, what you're looking forward to this weekend, we love to hear from you. Don't be shy, everyone's very nice here in the virtual club. So same shot please here from Briar. They've probably taken a little bit more ice. They don't need to be anywhere near those centre yellows. They just need to make sure that we get a second shot in here. So fully 8 foot, fully in the white circle. And I think the sweepers have judged that really nicely, and that's a great throw from Briar. So a big score of 2 for Team Hürlimann in that first end. So they make great use of their hammer there. High fives all round. So while they're discussing tactics for the second end, let's say hi to the teams. So Corey's team, skip is Corey Hürlimann, and she seems to be throwing third. Fourth thrower, Briar Hürlimann. I think they are sisters. They certainly do look like it, don't they? Second thrower is Melina Bezzola, and lead thrower is Anna Gut. Team Nyman from Sweden. Skip and fourth thrower is Fredrik Nyman. Third thrower Albin Eriksson. Second thrower Simon Olofsson. And lead thrower Johannes Patz. That's an interesting name, Patz. We have several famous Patzes or Pets, more like the Swiss pronunciation here in Switzerland. So the most famous Pets of them all at the moment, I would say, definitely is Alina Petz, the fourth thrower of the current world champions, Silvana Cerenzoni's team, and her brother Claudio Petz. He used to throw third stones with Peter de Cruz's team. So maybe the Johannes Patz, maybe his family originally came from these parts. So, starting off the second end is Anna Gut. After a nice strong start from Corey's team, putting a big 2 on the board, making really efficient use of their last stone there, and really maximising a couple of mistakes, couple of loose shots from Nyman's team, so they'll be wanting to make that up immediately. I'm sure he will. Yep, there you see him pointing to our right. He wants to put up a corner guard immediately, get something to hide behind. Good morning to our curling hoot. Up early here in Michigan, US. That's nice of you to join us. Thank you very much. I know it's still a Friday, so maybe some folks have to go to work, unfortunately. Luckily, where I work and for my job, I can quite often have secret office curling in the background, so I can have YouTube running gently in the background with my headphones on and pop in and out, so I hope you're able to do that. But if not, all the games that we're looking at from this weekend, they will also be in the video tab on WCT TV, and you can catch up with those. Hello to Isak Lindstrom in the chat. I guess we can take a guess at which team I think he's probably supporting. My Swedish is not as good as my Norwegian, which of course has improved very much since last time. He says something about Simon. I'm not going to hurt everyone's ears by trying to pronounce the Swedish there. Hans in the chat. Hans was joining us also in Baden last time. Hans down the road in Bern. He says it's nice to see curling being played again after the close down last season. Indeed, Hans. As we were saying in Baden a couple of weeks ago, that was the first of the World Curling Tour events here in Switzerland. We said we still have some restrictions in place here in Switzerland. The vaccine's been available for a few months now, and I think most people, well, most people have had the opportunity to be vaccinated, certainly. And we're still wearing masks indoors if you go to the supermarket or if you're on the train or something like this. But it's not quite as restrictive as it was last year, where we were really keeping almost total separation between the teams and everybody upstairs, and we didn't really have guests coming in the club, or just club members just coming to support and to watch. We were really keeping the social distance, and that's a little bit more relaxed now. I think the teams can sit together afterwards, and yeah, it's getting back to normal gradually. Looks like Corey Hürlimann's team setting up another nice end here. They ended up using those centre guards that Nyman had played in the first end there, even though they had last stone, and we're starting to see that more, as we've said, in this 5 rock free guard zone world. That traditionally you would want to put up a corner guard like Nyman has. And again, he needs to be a bit careful here, because he put up that corner guard for the first shot, and he's getting a little bit sucked into Corey's style of play here, because he may not get another chance to use that corner guard. I think he needs to get something in behind there. He may be going for, yeah, a gentle hit and roll here, so move that red and try to roll the yellow in behind cover. But I think if this red goes out... Oh, I wonder that we must have had 5 stones already. I wondered if that was the... Yes, that is the 5th stone, so that's okay for the red to be out of play. Free guard zone's now over. But you can see that didn't really work actually, because the yellow didn't roll far enough. It didn't roll into the house, and it's really left Corey Hürlimann quite a nice additional centre guard. So I'm sure she's just going to try to find a nice angle here, make sure there aren't any easy raised takeouts for Nyman to try. Looks like we've got several Swedish fans in the chat joining this morning. That's nice to see support for young Team Nyman. I think everybody, including Sweden, likes to watch Niklas Edin, but that's great to see support for the other Swedish teams out there as well. Hello to Emil Hermansson and Axelup. I hope I said that correctly as well. If you want to say hello, we are in the second end of our featured game here at the second ADELBODEN International 2021 edition. This is the second of the Swiss events in the World Curling Tour here in Europe. This looks a bit happier for the boys, indeed. That gets rid of that troublesome red in the forefoot. And I think, yeah, that's just rolled quite nicely. I don't think you can see all of that yellow. I think that red stone, the centre guard, I think that's just covering the edge of the red, so it may be quite a tricky shot to get to the inside of that yellow. So what the ladies would like to do, I think, is they want to just nudge that yellow through, but important for them is getting a roll towards the centre line, so towards the right as we are looking at it. But so punch the yellow through and then roll off to the right. But I think this could be a tricky one. As I said, I don't think they can see all of the red. So first shot from skip and third thrower, Corey Hürlimann. So they're definitely round the guard. And have they got the roll? Not quite. They got just to the nose of that yellow, but that's nice. That's sorted out the immediate trouble. Nyman and the Swedish team, they have last stone. And they're not really being able to build an end just now. They're not really being able to get yellow stones in play, get them hidden behind guards to make it difficult for Corey's team to remove them. That's exactly what we said might happen, is that he put out that nice corner guard with the first stone that's still there in the top right of the screen as we were looking at it, but he hasn't gone near it yet. He hasn't used it. He had one try to get a stone in behind, a hit and roll, which didn't work out, so now he's having to be a bit more clever about their tactics. We might just get a lucky rub here. Not quite. Not managing then to find the same line that Corey's team found. I think I like that better, yeah. I don't think that Corey needs to put up a second guard actually. They're +2 already, and putting up a second guard, that just gives Nyman something to play with. So I think I might have preferred the other idea that they seem to be discussing, which was to put a second red on the counterclockwise handle in behind those yellows that we're the couple of corner guard yellows that we're seeing. But let's see how this works out for them. This is a aggressive call. If you're just joining us, we're in the second end of the WCT ADELBODEN International 2021. And you're just looking at Team Corey Hürlimann putting up a lovely guard. The ladies 2-0 after one end, and putting up a really nice guard there. That's a brave call. They didn't need to put up a guard. They could just have put a second red stone in play. That's an aggressive call. We like to see it. Hans in the chat says that we're starting up tournaments from age 17 to 30 this season in Sweden. That's exciting. Good luck with that, Hans. Keep us informed of how that's going. I think it can be quite a jump from junior level. So traditionally juniors has been under 21. And it can be quite a jump from under 21 to men's and ladies level. And yeah, maybe that can help if you have an additional level until 30 or so. Although having said that, there are plenty of top teams out there who are in their late 20s. I think Kadin's team, yeah, they were already world champions before they were 30, and Bruce Mallett's team had been vice world champion twice. And they're all late 20s as well. See, now this was the danger with putting up a guard. You give Nyman a chance to start putting stones in play here. I would have rather seen the ladies put a red stone around that guard that Nyman just used. Because now they're not in danger, but they're just making their own lives a little bit more difficult than perhaps they needed to. So T-line is the call. Hopefully the Swiss German for T-line is also T-line. It sounds like they're just going to follow that yellow in. But we can see the result of that aggressive call. So putting that guard out front with their previous stone, that means now they really have to be quite secure with the stone. No loose shots here. If they get a bit of a half shot here or a bit of a miss, they could be handing advantage over to the Swedish team. They're playing a little bit high risk, high reward. Let's keep our fingers crossed they get the reward rather than the risk. And that's not what they were looking for. And now that does give the Swedes a chance to put a lot of pressure on. They're having a good look to see which of those stones from our angle certainly looks like yellow, but we're right behind the yellow stone. They're having a good look to check. While they're discussing what to do, I can tell you who else is playing at the moment. On sheet A, we have an all-Swiss affair. We have Team Schnider against Team Bangerter. That is a score of 2-0 at the moment to Schnider. We saw some cracking games from Team Schnider in Baden a couple of weeks ago. Then here on our featured game on sheet B, we have Team Corey Hürlimann. We shall be meeting the other Team Hürlimann later in the competition. At the moment, we have watching Team Corey Hürlimann against Team Fredrik Nyman from Sweden. On sheet C, we have Team Jungen from this club here in ADELBODEN against Team Iseli. That's 1-0 after one end to Team Jungen. And on sheet D, we have the Russian team who were recently at the World Championship. That's Team Glukovh. And they're playing another Swiss team, Team Heinimann. And that is a score of 2-1 to Team Glukovh at the moment, after 2 ends. So we don't have quite as many cameras here as we had in Baden. So if you want an update of a particular sheet, just let us know in the chat, and I will update you right away. I will be checking in with how everyone's doing throughout the game anyway. So this looks like another really nice shot actually from Sweden. That's exactly where they wanted to, and this is all because Corey's team put up that guard instead of blocking that path that Sweden have now used twice. So now, yeah, they're in a bit of trouble. Those two yellows are quite safe behind there. We need a good shot here from Breer.
Da liegen wir vielleicht sogar mit 2. Ja. Heck.
You can see that guard was never really helping them. That stone's just in the 8 foot, but it was unlikely to really put pressure on Nyman.
Max. Yeah.
So while we're crossing our fingers for a good shot to get them out of trouble here from Brier, I can tell you what went on this morning. So this morning, the early people getting up, that was Team Traub, whom we also saw in Baden. Neue Traub, they made it to the quarterfinals and were pretty close actually to pulling off an upset. They had a great tournament in Baden. Team Traub played Team Colli from Italy, and that was a really close game. Ended up being 7-6 to the Italian Team Colli. Let's just see how this shot turns out. This has to be good, Brier. She needs a really nice roll. Well, it's a good try. I think they just overcurled slightly. They needed to catch a wee bit less of that yellow to roll a wee bit more. So now they're having another look again. They're really not sure. Must be closer than it looks from our angle. Pretty straightforward shot for one. You can see that red in the 4 foot circle, the red circle. That's wide open. That's no trouble at all. And what they're looking at is if we just boop that one on the nose like that, will that make 2 points or will it only make 1? And by how closely they're looking at it, I'm wondering if it might be only 1 point that they would get in the end, but we shall see. Maybe we'll get a measure. While they're finalising and preparing, I can tell you what else went on this morning. We had an international, all-international game on Sheet B this morning. That was Team Sergio Vez, again from Spain, against Team Klima from Czech Republic. We also saw Team Klima 2 weeks ago. They didn't get any wins actually at Baden, but gosh, it was not for lack of trying. Goodness, I'm expecting that Team Klima will build on that this weekend, and indeed they had a nice strong start against Team Vez from Spain. That was an 8-3 win for the Czechs, Team Klima. The next game we had was on Sheet C. That was an all-Swiss affair, Team Hösli against Team Matti. The Höslis we also saw in Baden, and they had a nice strong start. They won 5-3 against Team Matti. So as we said, no trouble here in our featured game. Back to check how that goes. Definitely 1 yellow. And the question is it 2? So we can remove that 1 point. That's okay. We've agreed on 1 yellow. And you can see Brier is saying, yeah, let's have a measure. I think that's very wise. This is a big competition, and every point is important. And while they're doing that, I can tell you the final result from this morning, the 8 o'clock draw. That was another new team from Italy, Rizzoli, and they were playing the other team, Hürlimann. That's Team Dean Hürlimann that we'll meet later. And that was a nice tidy win for the Italian team, Rizzoli, 6-3 against Team Dean Hürlimann. So there's a couple of new Italian names there. We're used to watching Joe Returna's team. We see them very frequently. That's my little favourite team, as everybody knows. And I'm excited to see these 2 young Italian teams coming through, Team Colli and Team Rizzoli. We're very happy to welcome them here in ADELBODEN. And while they're doing that, you can see, yeah, it's the players that do the measure. They will just agree. It's a very respectful sport. It's always very polite. We can depend upon the player not to lean on the measure or something to try to adjust the needle for their advantage. That doesn't happen. And looks like, yep, they're agreed it was a 2nd yellow point. Good response there from the Swedes. And that aggressive stone that we called out with, I think it was stone number 5 for Corey's team. I don't think that worked out for them. I think that was too aggressive, and it let the Swedes start building an end. So 2 each then, after 2 ends here in our featured game. Team Corey Hürlimann against Team Fredrik Nyman of Sweden. So, as you were, that was a nice strong reply from the Swedish team. Fredrik Nyman. Corey's team put up 2, as you can see in the first end when they had hammer, and then hammer passes to Team Nyman. And they immediately put 2 back on the scoreboard, so strong response there, but I'm wondering if this end is going uphill, because they seem to be having quite a few stones dropping short. Goodness me, that was quite a sweep. Did they get all the stone over all of the line? Yes, they did. I'm not sure how useful that's going to be. I think the ladies are just saying, can you just check that that's definitely over the line? Yeah, seems like. I can't imagine the Swedes trying to be sneaky and pretending. See, again, I think, I'm not sure the corner guard is maybe the right shot here. I think that centre guard is so long, I might just pop one in behind there. They're quite young, Corey's team. So maybe still learning a little bit tactically, or what's the best. But nope, looks like the corner guard is the call. Again, that's an aggressive call. Good for you, ladies. I'm just getting a little bit concerned that they might be getting a little bit too aggressive tactically here, the ladies, but hope it works out for them. Looks like everybody struggling a little bit with having to have a big sweep to get their stones where they need to be. I don't know if the ice is maybe a little bit frostier or so. Well, we can see how quick the ice is. We can do some timing later on. Yeah, we need to start getting some more precise shots, I think, from Sweden. I think tactically they've probably had slightly better ideas. It's only been 2 ends, but I think tactically they're maybe a little bit more solid, but they're not quite executing at the moment. Hans in the chat says that the established Canadian under-25 will be limiting the number of teams able to participate, as the number of young curlers has decreased heavily. Which is a pity to hear. My explanation for that, I'm certainly, yeah, if you have ideas about why the number of young curlers has decreased, or what we can do about that, do join us in the chat. I'm delighted to hear your thoughts on that. My thought certainly is that I feel like this has started happening since curling came back to the Olympics. I think a lot of countries feel that it's a top-down approach will serve them better than a grassroots bottom-up approach, and rather than concentrating on building strength and depth, they've rather concentrated a lot on their top teams and ploughed all of their resources into that, and inevitably that means that we don't have so many young curlers anymore. But I'm interested to hear anyone else's thoughts. Maybe I'm wrong. Do definitely share your thoughts if you have other ideas about that. But yeah, for me, I think the Olympics, curling in the Olympics has been very much a double-edged sword. I think it's certainly brought a lot of exposure to the sport. Maybe a lot more people are now aware, we maybe have a lot more viewers, but I don't think it's been all helpful actually to the elite teams. I think a lot of elite teams don't exist anymore actually, because, as I said, the associations may be ploughing all their resources into rather a small number of teams now. But both teams doing the right thing here. We can see that Corey's team put a really nice stone in there behind their corner guard. But there's quite a big pile of yellows building up now here in the middle that they're going to have to do something about. Otherwise, Sweden are going to start using those to get in behind. I like that for an idea. If you don't go around here on the clockwise handle to the centre, then that's exactly what Fredrik Nyman is doing with his next shot. And they might not want this too far in, actually. Otherwise, they would leave Nyman space to follow them in and really limit their scoring opportunities. So I guess this, they would rather have this red stone just in the front of the house. They don't necessarily want this all the way to T-line. They've certainly found the right line. Again, it's a strong sweep from the ladies. Are they going to find the house? I think not quite, but they certainly made that line more difficult. And that maybe changes up what Fredrik Nyman wants to do now. If that line had still been there, I suspect he might have wanted to put a stone in the middle and right behind those two centre guards, but now that that line's a little bit blocked, he maybe doesn't want to let these red stones start building up again. There isn't an obvious way for him to get a yellow stone in to beat that red stone and put pressure on Corey's team. The risk with doing some sort of raise takeout on that red, though, is that that just gives Corey a chance to then use the clockwise handle and start blocking up that path as well. They've got last stone, Corey's team, playing red. That's a dangerous shot there, certainly. I think that might be a good idea, you know. I quite liked playing on that red that Corey's team just threw. But it sounds like they're, or looks like rather, they're going for the yellow right in front of Fredrik's brush there. They're going for that yellow onto red. And if they're very clever about this, they might even get a little roll with that promoted yellow towards the middle. Let's see. Sounds like they must be close. Ooh, they've got a little rub off everything there, but that's removed the immediate danger, so that seems to work out well. They've got another centre guard there. That worked out really nicely, that red on the wing there. That's what Corey was hoping would be their second counter. But that's removed that, so now she really has to play towards the centre. Otherwise, that's exactly where Fredrik Nyman's playing with their next stone. Again, this one's pulling up a little bit short, it looks like. Oh no, my mistake. That's top sweeping from Alina and Anna. Maybe didn't quite find the curl, but great try. Good to have that T weight in your pocket. I think it would be hard for the Swedes. They're going to play this clockwise handle, but I think it will be hard for the Swedes to roll in behind cover. You can see again, they're just playing that gentle weight. No need to throw a big weight at this, otherwise you've no chance of it curling enough. This has really found a curl towards the end here. Well, they are going to get a nice bump in behind. Just like that, perfect there. You can see it doesn't really matter to them that they haven't removed that red. Important was they could get that little bump to our right and get that yellow in behind all that cover. Really nice stone there from third thrower. I presume that's Albin Eriksson. He's wearing a Nyman jacket as well, so do correct me if I've got that wrong. Maybe they have an alternate player today. very makeable shot here for Brier. Oh no, it's Corey playing, sorry, but I keep forgetting Corey's on third stones. It's a very makeable shot, so she wants to hit that red just to the left of Brier's brush and punch red onto yellow. But again, it wasn't a bad shot at all from Sweden. Now at least they're forcing Corey's team to do something about it. They need to move that yellow from the forefoot if they want to score with last stone. So here it comes. We want red onto yellow. That looks a little bit tight away for me. I'm not sure she quite got out to the brush at that. So she's moved things around a bit, but I'm not sure she's going to get a second chance at that. That red's in a more awkward angle now. As you can see, it just punched in a little bit towards the centre. And a good chance here now for Sweden to put a lot of pressure on. I like that idea that he's just said on the clockwise handle again. Again, don't worry about the camera shaking. That just means that someone opened the door to the ice hall and that little blast of air just wiggles the camera a bit. I think Sweden's being overcautious here if they want to put a guard. I'm not convinced that shot's as easy as they think it is. I think I would perhaps play exactly the same shot they played before on the clockwise handle and just nudge up to that yellow in the forefoot. But this is a good call as well. This still puts pressure on Corey's team. A nice guard here, and then really the only shot that the ladies have left will be to make a draw on the clockwise handle where they're standing just now and grab a piece of that 1 foot circle. That raised takeout then, not available anymore. It looks like they're not going for that anyway. Hans in the chat says the threshold to get into the top performance curling has grown too high. And I do agree with you, Hans, certainly, or the way I see it is that the gap, I think, between club curling, hobby curling, and the higher levels of this kind of level, I think that is wider, and it is getting wider still. Oh, this one looks tight away as well for me. Yeah, she's going to catch that guard. Looked like her weight was nice. But just catching that guard. Oh, there's a lot of guards out front now. And I think, yeah, all Sweden has to do is just block up that handle, that clockwise handle that they just played. They could put another yellow in, where vice skip Albin Eriksson is demonstrating on the counterclockwise handle. That's also possible. I'm not sure playing away from the centre would help them too much. I'm not sure there's too much advantage to that. I think I would probably block the draw on the clockwise handle. I think there's still a path on that clock, exactly where he's pointing. I think there's still a path to that yellow stone that Corey's team just tried to get to, and they will make an adjustment, so I wouldn't give them a second chance at that. I would put a guard exactly where they're pointing to. And then I think that makes it very, very difficult for Corey's team to even get 1 point. While they're doing that, we can take a little look at how everyone else is getting on. On sheet A, we have Team André Schnider against Team Christian Bangerter, and that is, you can just see that in the top left of our screen, that is now a score of 2-1 for Schnider over Bangerter. Sorry, Bangerter. We need to practice my Swiss pronunciation this week. In our featured game, it's 2 each between Corey Hürlimann and Frederik Nyman on sheet C. It's another score to Team Jungen over Team Iseli. They're just on the right of our screen, and our final game over on sheet D is the Russian team Glukovh, recently at the World Championships, against another Swiss team, Heinimann, and that score is 2 each. Plenty of tight games out there. Yeah, I think this is exactly what I would also do in this situation, and now we're forcing Corey's team to play a bit of a Hail Mary shot here. A bit of a throw and hope. Again, this shot is definitely there, but I think Sweden did the right thing, taking away that gentle, the sort of straight path to a gentle tap through. And now the ladies have to try something a lot more difficult. Definitely possible, and no risk to this shot. You may as well give it a go. And actually, if she makes it, I think they would pick up 2 potentially. So definitely worth having a go. Yes, no sweeping, sounds typically good. I think that needs to curl a little bit, yeah. Try to curl, try to curl. Oh, I think it's just going to go under the yellow, yeah. Unlucky. I think that's exactly the right idea. I think you have plenty of guards out front. I'm not sure it makes too much sense to continue guarding. They do think there's a path still to that 1-foot circle. If you just go through that gap between pretty much where Fredrik's standing, they think there's a little path through there. Making sure that yellow, sorry, and the 4-foot is absolutely safe by the look of it. That will be about 7 guards out front. It makes it interesting for us viewers, certainly, when there's lots of stones like this in play. All kinds of angles to work out. Here in ADELBODEN this weekend, we have 3 days, well, 4 days of curling. They started last night. There was a draw yesterday evening. We have a full day's curling today, a full day's curling tomorrow, and then semis and finals on Sunday. We welcome everyone to join us.
Wow, vänta! Ja, jättemer. Men Karla, kör om man är löst då. Kör om du måste. Bra linje. Johannes.
Our featured game here then, a bit of a copy paste.
Kom igen.
We want just another guard on this line. Actually, yeah, I like this even better. Let's get a second shot in. Very nice. And I think Corey's team, if I was them, I would probably try and not quite follow that line, but a similar line. Squeeze through that gap between the red and the yellow guard that we just saw, and maybe try and get to the 4-foot that way. This is also possible where they're standing now on the counterclockwise handle. I think we haven't played so many stones that way. Or you could try for the hit and roll. There's no risk to that. Use your own red on the right of our screen there to hit that red out, but then your shooter would roll in towards the middle. I think that's the most difficult way to do it, but certainly no risk to that shot. So it looks like they're going for dead draw on the counterclockwise handle. Looks like it maybe needs to be fully 4-foot. Taking plenty of ice. As I said, I don't think we've played so many stones on this path, and it may be still a little bit stickier out there.
Denkt ihr nicht, es spürlich härter noch, wenn wir so weit rausgehen?
We've seen the ice is plenty curly though, so I think as long as they get around that yellow guard the furthest to our right, then I think there's a nice path straight to that 4 foot. But a very difficult shot here. She needs enough weight to get it through the sticky part, but yeah, it sounds like they need to sweep it for line. They have to get it around that first guard. It certainly is. It's a great try. She's awfully close. Oh, great effort, Bria. Hard to tell from our angle if that was the shot after all. But definitely good damage limitation. I think at worst, I think that looks like they lost 1 yellow. Or at best, I think they scored 1 red. Hopefully someone will put this, either put the score up or pick out their first stone to help us out. There we are. That was a score for yellow, and was it 1 or 2? I think it, from our angle, it looked like 1. But good save from Beer. That was not an easy shot. She had no kind of backing, and that was quite a fresh path they were on. Good save there. Now we'll get a nice look at Johannes Patz, lead thrower for Fredrik Nyman's Swedish team. Look at that, lovely and steady. You can often tell if a player's Swedish just by the way they throw. That plenty of countries, they just all have a slightly different way of teaching how to throw, and sometimes you can really tell where someone has learned or what nationality they likely are just from watching their delivery. So he has that really nice low and wide delivery that you quite often see from Sweden. Good start there. Now Sweden is +1. They don't really want an end like that where there's loads and loads of guards out front. They're quite happy to keep everything towards the house. When there's lots of guards, that rather favours the team who are trying to get points, and that's now Corey's team. Bright start there from lead thrower Anna Gutt. She's having a nice steady game at lead. And let's see if Corey uses her corner guard. As we've said, we quite often see teams throwing up a corner guard, and then they either make a bit of a loose shot or they get sucked into their opposition's tactic, and then they end up not using their corner guard. Let's see if Corey can make good use of that nice corner guard from Anna Gutt. We're in the 4th end, approaching halfway in our featured game here in the 2nd ADELBODEN International 2021 edition. We are watching Team Corey Hürlimann against Team Fredrik Nyman from Sweden. We're very happy to see various new teams actually, so familiar countries for us, Sweden, Italy, Netherlands, but we have some new young teams for us to watch this weekend, and that's always exciting. And we have plenty of more established names as well. You can see Team Jungen is playing next door. They're from ADELBODEN Club. They had a great run here last year, and they went on to be finalists in Champery. Expecting good things from them. And we have Team Schnider next door, who only missed out qualifying in Baden for the quarterfinals. They missed out by 7 centimetres on their last shot draw, which was it was simultaneously just tragic because they tried so hard, they worked so hard to get themselves in contention, but it shows you how close it is at the top. We think that Team Eden and De Cruz and Yannick Schwaller, we think those teams, perhaps we have the impression they go out and just easily win every game, and that's why they're at the top, and it's not that. It's that they are consistently 7 centimetres better than Team Schnider. That's how hard it is to stay at the top at this level. We can see Team Schnider on sheet A. They're having a very happy start to their morning. They're now 7-1 ahead. I'm sure they will be hungry to get to the knockout of this weekend after being so close a couple of weeks ago. Gosh, I hope those Swedish boys, I hope they've been at the gym all summer, because they are having to sweep quite a lot of their stones to get them into play. It looks like they're erring on the soft side, rather, so that it looks like they're throwing a little bit too light rather than a little bit too heavy. Give the sweepers some work to do. Corey then now can remove this stone. You saw with the last red that she threw at this. It was almost perfect, but it just caught the free guard zone and was replaced. But this one, we can remove it cleanly. Bigger weight coming. We want the yellow to go out now, and we actually want the red to go out as well. She's caught a bit of an angle. That's a wee bit unlucky, so the yellow's not much help there. I think she's moved that nicely. But she was a wee bit unfortunate to catch that red on the way through, and that's bounced back towards the centre. But better than it was. Now let's have a look at second thrower, Simon Olofsson. I'm happy to see the white uniforms of the Swedish team. It felt like a couple of weeks ago in Baden, it felt like everybody had black uniforms. Or at least dark uniforms. Nice and easy for us to distinguish the teams here. Nice line there. And what this is doing, this is just really preventing Corey's team from being able to build any shots. As long as Nyman is consistently playing towards the centre and they're not really making mistakes, they're getting their line and their weight very nice. Corey's not having the chance to put reds in play. She's not having the chance to build an end here. So similar weight then, similar shot for second thrower Melina Bezzola. This looks nice again. Is she going to get maybe more of a nice luckier rub on the red? Oh, that worked out pretty nicely for her. Oh, I think that red's just bounced into the wings there. That could become helpful later. Nice throw from Melina. She cleared out that centre yellow, moved that red, the red guard that wasn't really helping them, and she got a nice little roll in herself as well. So 11 out of 10 for Melina with that shot. That's exactly what Corey's team needed, was to give Nyman something to do, not let them control what's happening. And now they have to go a little bit on the defensive. And that maybe gives Corey's team a chance to start putting stones in the house. No trouble with that, that's a straight takeout. And important here then is that this red that's coming hangs around. There's two ways you can do it. You can do it the way that Corey's signalling. Or sorry, that's Breer now. Corey is throwing. You can do it this way. You can do this gentle hit and roll in behind that yellow cover. Or you could just do a dead draw in behind that guard. You would achieve the same, that the red would be hidden. Important is this red hangs around. We certainly were trying to hold it. I think that's definitely going to hang around. It's not really behind the yellow, but that's okay. that makes it hard for Nyman to hit that red and for them to roll behind the centre. It's quite a long roll. And depending on whether that yellow, that we just can't quite see Fredrik Nyman just in front of it, or well behind it. Depending on if that yellow's in or out, then perhaps the blank end could be an option for Corey's team here as well. Johannes was pointing his finger up there to say they had plenty of weight. Look at that, they've made that pretty nicely. It's hard to judge a roll accurately like that, so yeah, fist bump for that. I think that's a really nice effort there from third thrower Albin Eriksson. As I said, Albin, well, the third thrower is wearing a Nyman jacket, so if you know that that isn't Albin Eriksson, and maybe it's an alternate player, do let me know. Or maybe just Albin forgot his own jacket or something, and he's having to borrow one. You can see that yellow's tucked in nicely behind the yellow guard, but that yellow guard, it's really quite a long way. It's just over the hog line, and there is plenty of space for Corey to just come round at a gentle way and either push that yellow through or just corner freeze it. Looks more like they're going for pushing it through. You can see the sweepers calling ahead all the time to let Breer know what the weight's like. Looks like now they're trying to sweep it to curl a little bit. She certainly punched it through. It was maybe a little bit more weight than they needed actually, because now that red's open, but that wasn't an easy shot. So good job, Corey. But this should be fairly straightforward for Fredrik. So we're approaching the halfway point in our featured game. This is the third round at the second ADELBODEN International 2021 edition. We had a round at 8 o'clock this morning, and the first round was at 7 o'clock yesterday evening, and we've plenty more to come. There are 3 more draws today. We have a full day's curling tomorrow on Saturday, and we have the semi and the finals on Sunday. So do join us. First throw then, at the fourth end for Fredrik Nyman. Again, Johannes pointing to say that it's got enough weight. Looks like they've made a fairly good job of it again. That's pretty nice. They don't mind if it over rolls, so to say. They don't mind that actually, because that drags the plate away from the centre. And that forces Corey's team to play the other handle now, instead of just playing the same shot she just played. So now Breer throwing fourth stones. She'll be looking for something fairly similar. You can see a lot of ice they're taking, so not coming in at a big weight. I don't think they can see all of that yellow, but as we said before, there is a lot of space between where that yellow is in the rings and the guard out front is just over the hog line. There's plenty of space to get around that. Having said that, it looks more like they're going for the double takeout. My mistake. Oh. She just needed to catch a little bit less of that stone. Brave effort. So definitely that yellow was in then by the look of it, since they were going for the double. Everything's still pretty open though. Worth a go at that. Worth a go for that double. Everything's still pretty open. Corey's team have last shot in this fourth end, and everything pretty open for Breer to draw the forefoot with last shot if needed. So may as well have tried that double. Didn't quite come off. And looks like what Sweden is going to do, just try to make it a bit awkward for Breer to draw to the forefoot with last stone. They just want to guard that path, really. Try to force Breer to make a mistake, to maybe catch a guard or so. Again, you can see that distinctive Swedish style, the really wide and low delivery. Sweepers not too concerned about it. They seem pretty happy with the weight of it. It's maybe running on a little bit, but yeah, I think that's pretty much where they wanted it. They didn't want it much further in than that. Otherwise, it would be easy for Corey's team to just hit and stick. And most curlers, I think, would prefer, with the last shot, they would prefer to hit and stick on a stone that's already there, rather than doing this draw where Breer doesn't have any backing. She has to get it exactly correct. And that's definitely a more difficult shot than just hitting that yellow and being able to stick. So that's why they didn't want that yellow close to the tee line, actually. They just wanted it where it is. Last shot then of the fourth end, and facing two stones. Breer Hürlimann, fourth thrower. Important that this stone gets to its target. This could really turn the game. This looks nice. Oh, and they haven't got it this time. I've seen so many nice sweeps from Melina and Anna. I thought they had it, but that's quite a big difference actually between scoring one and a big steal of two there for Sweden. That's a pity. That could make the second half quite difficult for Corey's team. They will have to be all out aggressive from here. That makes the score at the halfway point here in our featured game. That makes the score 5-3 to Team Nyman. Sorry, 5-2 to Team Nyman. So they're +3 now, the Swedes. Very doable. The ladies have plenty of experience at the Swiss Championships. They can definitely pull 3 points back, but quite a tough ask. And from here on, you will surely see the Swedish team not putting any more guards up there. We're just going to put up those points. So 5-2. Corey's team got no choice. They have to be all out aggressive now to get 3 points back. I'm sure the Swedes will really want to start hitting for home from here. They're +3. They don't want any guards out in front. Guards will just help Corey's team with stones to hide behind. Another nice stone from Anna Good. She's having a really steady game, putting up the guards. They know what they have to do, the ladies, then. They're going to have to find a really good shot placement, make sure these boys can't hit out their stones. And if Corey's team can get a 2 back here in this fifth end, that would really grab back that deficit. That would really make the game very even again. So she's done the right thing, putting up a corner guard. Now she needs to make sure she uses it. I think they need to maybe start taking some risks.
Backline. Und sonst gehen wir auf die. Okay. Weiß echt nicht, ob wir dann wie 2 machen.
I think what she said is plan A is the tick shot. That yellow can't go out of play. It's still protected by free guard zone, but if she plays backline and just bounces off that yellow guard and can set up a second corner guard, that would be perfect. And plan B is to just go directly for the shot. It looks like that could be what's happening. So she had lovely weight. She had exactly the right weight for that. It's always, as we said, it's always very difficult to do the tick shot accurately. You want to move the yellow away from play, but not out of play. That does leave that red open though, and I don't think it will be too difficult for second thrower Simon Olofsson to remove it. You can see again that gentle weight. They want this yellow to hang around. They would rather it hang around the other way, more towards the centre on our screen.
Yeah.
Because now that gives Corey a really nice chance with that same weight that we just saw from Anna. She's now asking Melina Petzola. She's asking her to play just that same easy weight. Very important where this red goes, so she'll throw a gentler weight that her sweepers can control the weight a bit better. And what they really want is this red to bump off and land in behind that corner guard. They were sweeping it out of hand. Sounds like it may be over curling a little bit. So how does that end up? So it rolls too far the red, and now they're going to lose their corner guard. Does move that yellow behind T, and that could become helpful for Corey's team later. Maybe to freeze that yellow, or that yellow might catch a stone that the boys hit. But yeah, they're not going to get any more chance to use their corner guard. That was your one chance. Didn't make it, and now your corner guard is gone. We'll be seeing this tactic probably for the next 3 ends, I would say, from Fredrik Nyman's team. The fewer stones that are in play, the better for them. They're plus 3 points. And if there are very few stones in play, not so many guards, not so many stones even in the house, then that means that Corey's team is going to struggle to keep their stones in play. If there's nothing to hide behind, there's nothing to freeze to provide some cover, Corey's going to struggle to get those 3 points back. But doing the right thing. Another guard. What they're hoping for is that they can get a mistake from Team Nyman. Either that they hit too much of this red and leave a guard behind. Don't think they're likely to get a complete miss. Ooh, that caught that stone by a fingernail. Yeah, smiles all round that that was a close one. And Corey recognising that, yeah, there's... I don't think they're going to get a mistake putting up another corner guard, so let's switch it up. Let's have a different idea. It looks like they're proposing to go around that yellow guard and try and get a mistake from Nyman that way. I like this idea. They don't need to worry about that yellow next to Breer's feet. That's unlikely to come into play for Team Nyman. Their better idea is exactly this, is to now start to get a little bit more aggressive, try to get a red safely behind that yellow, and try to force a mistake from Nyman. They're calling for line again. It's another strong sweep from Melina and Anna. They've certainly been working on their fitness this summer. We've seen that a few times in this direction, going away from the club room. Both for Corey's team and for Frederick's team, that we've seen quite a few stones just pulling up short. They're maybe not quite adjusting to that. And unfortunately, that now gives Team Fredrik Nyman the chance to use that centre guard instead. And they can really cut down the scoring area now if they get a shot in the forefoot behind those two guards. He jumped on the sweeping again there. This line looks okay. I don't think that's good to catch that guard. Or maybe just a bit nervous of it catching the curl towards the end. This looks very nice. This looks like a really nice team shot. Nicely thrown by Albin Eriksson, if that is indeed Albin Eriksson and not our alternate player. Really nice sweep from Simon Olofsson and Johannes Pats. Very nice team shot, well done. They're really forcing the issue now for Corey's team. They're making it really quite difficult for her. No advantage to throwing that same line that the boys just played. There's no advantage to throwing a delicate weight to try to punch that yellow through, because you will simply leave a red stone lying open. No advantage to playing on that yellow then that they just threw. So this is the right call. We're going to have to play all out aggressive. We're going to have to start getting shots right on the tee line. Second try then for Corey. She'll have made the adjustment. The first one, you can just see, drew up short there. So she's certainly got a nice weight on it, a better weight. Have they found that curl? That's not a bad effort from Corey. It is behind tee, but it's mostly buried. There is space for the Swedes to follow that. That seems to be what Albin is suggesting. Yeah, if they just play exactly the same shot that Corey just played, they will cancel that red out. But I think there's still definitely options for Breer's last stones. And maybe not as easy as it looks, this shot. We've seen, as we said, we've seen quite a few stones coming up short going in this direction, and maybe catching too big of a curl. There are a couple of guards out front there that will catch the shot if it's at all tight of the brush, if he plays it a little bit inside of the brush. And as we've said before, if Corey's team are going to get 2 points, they need a mistake from Nyman's team anyway. You only ever get 2 points if your opposition makes a mistake. If your opposition plays 8 for 8 shots, you will not have a chance to make 2 points. No chance of hitting the guards, I don't think. He's well away from there. This looks like it's curling in beautifully at the end. That's a lovely shot there. Very difficult to move that yellow. Don't worry about the camera shaking. That's just the door opening. Yeah, very, very difficult to remove that yellow. You can see maybe half of it, maximum, that Fredrik just threw. So even if Breer can make it to that yellow, it may be hard to move it without catching that red behind it. It's a really nice stone placement there from Frederik Nyman. Really good throw, just lovely weight. You can see it really caught the curl. It was nowhere near the guards because it curls a lot. It really catches that curl right towards the end. You don't need to be close to the guards. So important shot here for Breer, otherwise I think she is again going to find herself with quite a difficult shot coming up for fourth stone. So for the sake of good curling, come on Breer. Easy, yeah. I think they found the line better this time. I think I would still sweep that just to make sure it doesn't go anywhere near that red. That's a really nice shot from Breer, well done. If she'd missed that, then what would have happened is Nyman would surely have just blocked up the other handle and made it all but impossible to outscore those yellows, but now they're having to have a think about it. I think there is a double. I think you could get both of those reds out. Could be tricky though. You could. There's definitely a high risk of just jamming it. Yeah, I think the same shot again is maybe safer. You've just played it, Frederik, so yeah, I think that's a wise choice. And again, he doesn't need to be anywhere near those guards, even if he plays a little bit wider than he played before. That red is now there, just to the right of Albin's brush as we see it. And if he's a little bit wide, if he's got the right weight, he should be able to just bounce off that red and bounce towards the centre. I think this is definitely the easier shot. The boys don't mind if Corey's team gets 1 point here. That would make the score 5-3, but they would have last stone again. And if you're Frederik Nyman's team, that's fine. You would be in the 6th end. The ladies running out of ends to get this game back. So this does look indeed a little bit wider than the previous stone, but you can see it really catches that curl at the end. And now actually a little bounce off that red might be beneficial. Not quite, but certainly I'm not sure if there's a shot for 2. Again, we're not at the best angle. We don't have an overhead here. Looks like they're pretty happy with that. I'm sure they will have looked at that before, that if it would be possible to bump out that yellow, maybe sacrificing the back red, could you ever get 2 red points? But I'm not sure the red that Breer is standing in front of, so in the towards the left of our screen, I'm not sure if that red is 3rd shot or 4th shot, in which case there may only be a shot to make 1 point here. It looks like that's the case. It looks like there's no advantage to trying to push that yellow, and it looks like they just want to follow the boys' stone. They've got 2 stones there to catch them. They just need to make sure the weight's there, and then they've got 2 catching stones. They should be able to score 1 point from here, and they would rather have scored 2, as we said, because now they will hand last stone back to Team Nyman. But again, first things first, this needs to be a nice stone from Breer. Otherwise it would be a steal of 2, and then it would be really game over. So easy, girls, let it catch that curl. And just let it curl by itself, and Frederik already raising his brush to say nice stone. Nice shot, Breer. That was harder than it looks. That had to be good. So well done, Breer. That's got one of the points back. That's now a score of 5 points to 3 after 5 ends. But same drill, it will be an end 6 for Corey's team. They are now 2 points behind with 3 ends left. Team Nyman will have last stone in the 6th end. So we're going to have to be all out aggressive with Corey's team. They want to steal one, then steal one. And if you're Team Nyman, that's exactly what you don't want to do. Even if Team Nyman score 1 point this end, they'll now be playing the scoreboard a little bit. They're still +2. They don't need to take risks, Team Nyman. They don't necessarily need to score 2 points. If they just score 1 point now in the 6th end, that could be enough to put too much pressure, or they're running out of ends, the ladies, to get 3 points back. No need to take risks then, Team Nyman. They just want to keep nice, tidy shots. While we're setting up this end, another nice shot from Anna Good. She's having a really strong game. Let's see what's going on around the rink. You can see it's been a good fight back on sheet A to our left. It's a score of 7-4 between Team Schnider and Team Bangerter. That was from 7-1, so yeah, there you are, just at the top left of our picture. So strong fight back there from Team Bangerter. A lot of experience. In our featured game, the score is 5-3 to Team Fredrik Nyman from Sweden over Team Corey Hürlimann from Switzerland. Our other game, neighbour game on sheet C, that is Team Jungen against Team Iseli, all Swiss affair. Team Jungen are leading that 5 points to 3. And over on sheet D is Team Glukovh, the Russian team, recently at the World Championship, against Team Heinimann, a Swiss team as well, and the young Swiss team giving Team Glukovh quite a run for their money. It is 4-3 to Glukovh, but not having their own way. That's after 5 ends. It's 4-3 to Glukovh, and it looks like Team Heinimann giving them a good fight there, so nice to see. I can tell you who we will be following later on today. We are following sheet B this weekend here at ADELBODEN, and the next game on sheet B, and that is at 2 o'clock European. This will be a really fun one, I think. This is Team Hösli, the young Hösli brothers from Glarus Club here in Switzerland, and they will be playing Team Walstad. That's the Norwegian team, who will definitely fancy this title, I think. I think both of these teams will have high hopes for this competition, and that promises to be a really fun game. So do join us for that. That's the next game on sheet B here in ADELBODEN. Then there's another draw at 6 o'clock European. That's an all-Swiss affair, Team Heinimann against Team Jungen. And then at 9 o'clock European this evening, we have the Czech team, Team Klima, against Team Jan Hess. And Hess's team also did very well in Baden. They also made quarterfinals, and I think that would be a tasty game as well. As I said, Klima team, we did see that team in Baden, and they didn't get a win, but it was not for lack of trying. They gave everybody trouble, Team Klima, and I'm sure they will be hoping to build on that and get some wins here in ADELBODEN. That's our schedule for today, and then we have 4 games tomorrow in the round robin, followed by the quarterfinals in the evening. So plenty of curling for us to watch. Lots of tasty games coming up.
Dahinter hast du nicht wollen. Ja, was bringt's? Weißt du, es muss einfach Stop-Clearing. Ja, du brauchst nur reingemacht. Wenn der nachher immer perfekt geht.
And tomorrow is the same schedule, so we have games at 8 o'clock, 11, 2 in the afternoon, 5, 9 o'clock in the evening, all European time, and then on Sunday, the semi-finals at 9 o'clock in the morning, followed by the final at 1:30 European. We just saw a lovely shot there from third thrower Albin Eriksson of the Swedish team. As we said, it doesn't really help them to have any stones in play. They don't need to take risks. They do have last stone. And you don't always see teams hitting when they have last stone. Sometimes they'd rather try to get stones in play, try to score points. But we're in the 6th end of an 8-end game. No need for Team Nyman to take risks. Even if they just score 1 point in this end, that's making Corey Hürlimann's life very difficult. Doing the right thing. It can be a wee bit dispiriting when you're in this situation, as Corey's team is, that you have to keep playing aggressive, you have to keep putting up guards, and it's hard work. You know, you're throwing that delicate weight, your sweepers are working hard, and then along comes a big throw like this. Sorry, this is a second thrower, Simon Olofsson, not third thrower. Along comes a big throw like this, and all that work is gone in less than 10 seconds, and you need to not let that get to you. You need to keep plugging away. Keep your aggressive game going.
Das ist nicht besser. Ja.
I think the decision then is, if they put up another centre guard, which they could, that's not a bad idea. It seems like the Team Nyman are not really missing those, so there is another option to bring the game into the house at this point. That looks like what they're going for. And they want to find just the right angle to make it difficult for Nyman to remove this red. So they want this red to end up not quite in the path of that yellow would be ideal. So maybe just touching the front of the forefoot, but either way, wherever this red ends up, it probably will be close to that yellow. But this is still the right idea. Then I think they're giving themselves a chance to maybe hide a red with their with Briar Hürlimann's first shot. So I think good idea to bring the game into the house now. Set up some angles that might get a loose shot from Team Nyman. This looks pretty nice. You can see even a guard that close, you don't need to be close to the guard. The guard is close to the house, and it curls so much at the end, you don't even have to be very close to it. Really nice set-up shot then from Corey there. That's exactly what they wanted. That's the most likely way to get a half shot or a mistake from Nyman. So Nyman's trying to go for red onto red, doesn't get it. That's exactly what Corey was hoping for, to get a little bit of a mistake from the Swedish boys, and now that gives them a chance to put some more pressure on Sweden. I'm not sure if they're playing onto that red, maybe just to push it in behind that yellow. What they don't want to leave is a double takeout. So they may be throwing up another guard here and trying to force Nyman to do similar shots. Or they may be playing on that red that they already have in the forefoot. As I said, what they don't want to leave is a double takeout. The Swedes would gobble that up if they have a chance to get rid of two reds in one shot. Yeah, looks like they're throwing a guard. Try to force Nyman to do the same again. They don't want it as close to the house as it was before. Their line's lovely. That's a nice effort from Corey there. Two good shots from her. That's really nice play from Hürlimann's team there. You can see that's much more difficult now. If he wants to play that red guard onto red in the house, the distance is much further, so it's a much more difficult shot. That's really nicely set up from Corey. So now we have third thrower, Albin Eriksson. And he's definitely got one, but again, missed that stone in the house. So this is nice, careful play from Corey's team. As we said, they need to not be put off by this big hitting and raised takeouts and whatnot. They need to stick to their game. I don't think they will be playing a guard this time though. Otherwise, probably what Nyman would do is instead of trying to play guard onto red, he would play yellow onto red. I think we'll see Corey take slightly different ice with this shot. Again, what's important is she doesn't want to leave a double takeout for Nyman. If Nyman has the chance to remove 2 red stones, he definitely will. Let's just, yeah, make sure we're not getting stones from the game next door. So important, really important for stone placement here. They want good separation of these reds. Ooh, I think they maybe didn't quite get enough separation there. You can see the idea. I think they wanted to bump off that red, push that red in behind the yellow a little bit, and then roll a bit further away, but didn't quite roll far enough. This is exactly what they didn't want, is leaving an opportunity for Fredrik Nyman to remove both stones. For someone at this level then, it should be quite a straightforward double takeout, unfortunately for Corey's team. But he still has to make it.
Yeah! 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 Kom igen! Kom igen!
They were giving it a good sweep, and yeah, he's made that very nicely. So that's a pity. That was well worked from Corey's team this end. They worked really hard to give themselves a chance. I think now they're looking at, is there a double takeout available that they could do? I'm not sure a blank end really helps them. The score is 5-3. This is the 6th end. A blank would be better than probably picking up 1 point though. That's probably what they're discussing here. Is it worth the risk to go for this double? And you can see the distance between those yellows is much bigger than the reds that Fredrik Nyman just had a lovely double takeout with. It's quite easy for Corey's team to pick up 1 point here, let's say that. This they could do. And the question is, do we want to pick up 1 point? That would make the score 5-3. But that would hand the last thrown back to Team Nyman with only 2 ends to go. So that's what the discussion's about. It's not really a problem to pick up 1 point. It's not the end of the world actually if Nyman gets a point here. So this does make sense. I think there's no risk to going for the double. Worst case, you lose 1 point. There we are. The score is 5-3. In a worst case, you lose 1 point, making the score 6-3, but you do hang on to last stone. And she's made it. Great shot, Breer, really well done. So they've got the blank. Oh, sorry, my mistake. It's Nyman who has last shot. So actually he wants to hang on to last stone, and he doesn't want to pick up one. He'd rather control the end and keep last stone. So blank then in the 6th end. The score will remain 5 points to 3. 2 ends left for Corey Hürlimann's team to find 2 points to take this game to an extra end. Still plenty of stones to come then in this game. I would say advantage Nyman, but they'll not be comfortable yet. Oh, looks like that maybe picked something up. That just seemed to grind to a halt. Ah, no, my colleague says that somebody touched it, so we don't see that very often. But what happened was one of the sweepers touched the stone with their brush, and that's immediately taken out of play. You can't touch the stone with your brush. That's what happened there then. That's not what Corey needed at this stage. They need all of their stones well placed. And of course the reason you can't touch the stone with your brush, even though typically it hardly affects it, but of course you can't touch the stone with your brush, otherwise you could start to direct the stone or give it a bit of an extra shove or something like that. So that's why that's against the rules. So let's be careful now, ladies. We need all of our stones well placed. We can't afford a mistake. That's nice there. And Nyman going for the tick shot here. They're +2 with 2 ends to go. Stones in play are only helping Corey's team. As we said, tick shot always very difficult. You need enough weight to move this red, but not completely out of play. So I think he's going to, oh, he just misses it. I thought he was just going to catch an edge. But again, may as well try, no risk to trying. Nyman doesn't really want stones in play. Therefore, no risk to trying the tick shot. Worst case is exactly this, that nothing has changed. But here comes the 5th stone now, and that means free guard zone will be over, and the Swedes can start hitting. So let's make this a good one from second thrower Belina Bezzola. The second guard isn't terrible. Again, what they don't want, what they don't want is to leave those reds close together. This is an aggressive call from Nyman. Instead of removing those centre guards, which you can do, we've played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stones. Free guard zone is over. But they already have that yellow in there, and he thinks they can put a bit more pressure on by getting a second yellow in there. They are maybe thinking that they have last stone again in the 7th end. 6th end was blanked, and they're maybe thinking, again, even if they just score 1 here, that means that Corey is looking for 3 points in one end just to keep the game going. That's exactly where they wanted it. That's a really nice shot. So aggressive stuff from Sweden. And if Sweden could score 2 in the 7th end, that would make the score 7-3. And that might be enough to win the game from this end. I would say at this level, if you're -3, I would say it's definitely worth giving it a go. If you get a mistake from your opposition, you could have a chance for 3 points. I think if you're -4, I think that's pretty unusual at this level. And that could be what the Swedes are thinking, that if they can really pile the pressure on in this 7th end, maybe they can finish the game here. But Corey's team not giving up yet. And that's a nice effort. They've got that red safely in. It's ahead of tee. I can't see a better shot than removing these guards now for Fredrik Nyman. I'm not sure you want to hit it right in the middle, otherwise I think you are going to leave a guard out front. But let's see. Here it comes, big weight. So yeah, definitely got rid of both of them. Oh, wow, he must have put plenty of beans on that, because he even got that to spin into the house. Well, that must have been going some, that big yellow. But that does bring another stone into play that Corey could maybe use to try to steal this end. Remember, Nyman throwing yellow, they have last stone. And they're really twisting the knife a little bit here. They're putting a lot of pressure on Corey. They're going to have to come up with something quite special, I think, Corey's team, to steal this end. As we said, Nyman doesn't have to take risks. If he just scores 1 point this end, that would make the score 6-3. And at this level, they should be able to finish a game from there. So I think throwing another guard is a nice idea. That maybe sounds a bit strange, because that red is not sitting closest to the middle. I think yellow lies 2 at the moment. So that maybe sounds a little bit strange, but I think this is the correct call. If they don't put another guard out front, if they play into the house, then Sweden are just going to keep hitting. They need to put a little bit of distance between their red and a guard. Try to give themselves a chance to steal this end. An aggressive call then, but that's what they need. Another good sweep from Anna and Melina. They've certainly earned their lunch. Oh, Corey. Oh, I think that could be a costly mistake there for the ladies. That's the second stone they haven't got into play this end. It looks like the last thing that Corey was thinking before throwing that stone was, I don't want it to be too long. I don't want it to go into the house. And ended up taking a little bit too much off. And that's a pity.
Kom med!
Johannes! Johannes! Nej, Simon! Ah!
I guess that was supposed to be, it was supposed to catch the edge of the yellow closest to the edge of the rings there and squirt it back onto the red. But was skating a little bit too close to the edge there, didn't make it. And to the surprise of everyone, Corey's team has a second chance to put a guard up here. They're still going to need a couple of really nice throws here to get out of this. Looks like Melina is trying to sweep the stone to encourage it to curl. I think that's a nice result. Not sure there's a double take out there. She's got those 2 yellows behind now. I don't think that red is shot yet. Looks to me like there's at least 1 yellow, the yellow just closest to Frederick's brush there. Looks like that is still closest to the middle, that's still the shot. But that red right between those 2 yellows. Very difficult to get that red out. You could move it around, but quite difficult to remove that red, I think. And that's exactly what Corey's team needs. They want to make it difficult to remove that red so that Breer has hopefully a chance to sit 1 after their last stone. So let's see what this does. Plenty of weight. They're maybe just trying to move things around a bit, see where it ends up. This is curling quite a bit though. Now then. Again, I can't quite tell from this angle which of those 2 stones, the yellow or the red. I can't quite tell which is closer. But from this angle, it looks like it wouldn't take much for the red to be closer. If the red is already closer, then indeed, let's put a guard there. If the red is not yet closer, you're going to have to just bump it up just a few centimetres. They're again having a good look at it. It must be very close. Yeah, you can't guard everything, unfortunately. They're really doing the best they can with what they have there. Considering they made a couple of mistakes in this end, Corey's team, I think they're in good shape here. They're giving themselves a chance to score. I think whatever they do, Nyman will have a makeable shot. But what they want to do is force him to play the most difficult shot. Looks like then they do need to just nudge that red forward a little bit to make sure the red is closest. And then hopefully there will be enough backing that Nyman cannot remove the red from shot position. I think definitely looks good for weight. Line's coming now. Ah, that's nice. So it looks like they were confident the red is already closest. As I said, they can't guard everything. Fredrik Nyman was always going to have some kind of shot. But I think they've done really well to give themselves a chance to score in this end, Korea's team. They would have wanted the red that Breer just threw, they would have wanted that to just land a little bit closer to the yellow to take that angle away. We're just figuring out where do we need to hit this yellow that it squirts back onto that red. 3 stones to come then. 2 for Nyman, including this one that he's deciding on, and 1 more for Corey Hürlimann's team. This is pretty makeable, yellow onto red. But Corey does have that red now in the front ring that they could use with last shot. They're definitely fighting to give themselves a chance, Corey's team, to stay in this game. If they can score 1 point here in the 7th end, that would make the 8th end really exciting. So this line caught them out before, the Swedes, but I think they've corrected that. Yeah, that's a nice effort there. Now what they have to do is be lying 1 red at the end of the stone. So how do you do that? Again, there are a few ways you can do it. It sounds like and looks like they're going for the hit and roll. Yeah, just as Corey indicated. Again, I think whatever they throw, Fredrik Nyman will have a makeable shot with his last stone. But they're doing the best they can to give themselves a chance. So come on, Breer. She's certainly got plenty of space to roll, but it needs to get there first. And they're not quite getting out to the brush, Corey Hürlimann's team, unfortunately. They've thrown a few stones a little bit inside the brush this morning, so they need to think about that for the next game, and unfortunately that's left. I think this is a shot for 4 yellow points, so I think this could be game over at this stage. So a bit of a slow start from Team Nyman the first couple of ends, but they've definitely tightened up their play, gotten much more accurate with their throws. And I think their reward is about to be a big score of 4. And I think that will be enough, yeah. No way back from that. So a big score of 4 yellows there in the 7th end. And that makes the final score here in our featured game in ADELBODEN. That makes the final score 9 points to 3 for Team Fredrik Nyman from Sweden. They'll be happy with their morning's work. And they will stay on ice and do their draw shot challenge for the next round. And while they do that, I can just quickly update you what's going on the other sheets. we have, it's a final score on the left of our screen. There you can see the X's as well. So that was a good fight back, but finally a win for Team Schnider on sheet A versus Team Bangerter. It's an all-Swiss affair. On our featured game here, you can see that was a big score of 4, which often happens, like that Corey's team had no choice but to fight for that, and that can often happen when you're trying to steal an end. It can happen that you get a big score against because you can't afford to hit, but yeah, a score of 9 points to 3 for Team Nyman from Sweden against Corey Hürlimann from Switzerland. The game to the other side of us, I think that's still in their 8th end, and that is Team Jungen against Team Iseli, and Team Jungen are 7-3 on that game. And in our 4th game, that's the interesting one, that's on sheet D, that is Team Glukovh, the Russian team, against Team Heinimann, the young Swiss team, and their score is 6-3 after 6 ends. So the Russians have been really picking up 2 points when they've had last stone, and the Swiss have been picking up 1 point with last stone. So very efficient use of hammer there from the Russians. And you can catch all of those scores, as well as all the previous scores and what's coming up next. You can catch that at worldcurlingtour.org. Just click on this competition and then you can see all the scores. Coming up next then at 2 o'clock European, so just less than 1 hour, we will be watching Team Hösli. That's the young team from Glarus against Team Walstad. So I think that will be a nice, exciting game. I think both teams will be pretty keen to win that one. So do join us again at 2 o'clock European for Hösli against Walstad. Thank you for joining us just now, and bye for now.